mind you, this was a Wednesday after the Friday I got married. I called him at work and said, hey, I just quit. He went, okay. And when he got home, I said, well, I'm going to see what this can do.
Hey, friends. Welcome back to the show. It's Nikayla here, back with another amazing guest. So today's guest, Julia Coney, and I met at Where Else? The My Taught You retreat back in 2019. It's the gift that keeps on giving. I met so many amazing Black women at that retreat. And the one thing about Julia is that she united us all over a bottle of champagne. And you'll hear me tell that story in a second. But what I really love about Julia is the fact that it just goes to show that side hustling can look a lot of different ways. I know I often emphasize going from passion project to profitable business, but the reality is that there is a whole spectrum in between those two things. The fact is, I want you to side hustle so you can learn what you enjoy. And sometimes things need to remain a side hustle forever. Sometimes they need to be a side hustle for quite a while for you to truly understand, hey, do I want to monetize this? Do I want to make this my next career move? And what have you. And so I hope Julia's story will show you that you can take your time, enjoy life, and see where things take you. So let me give you a little bit more background on Julia. Julia Coney is a Washington, D.C. and Houston, Texas-based award-winning wine writer, speaker, and consultant. Julia is the wine consultant for American Airlines in partnership with the James Beard Foundation. Julia is also the founder of Black Wine Professionals, a resource for the wine industry whose goal is to lift up the multifaceted Black professionals in the world of wine. Julia was also the recipient of Wine Enthusiast 2020 Social Visionary Award for her work in writing and speaking on diversity, equity, and inclusion in the wine industry. Wine Industry Network has even named her one of wine's most inspiring people for 2022. And Julia is the wine columnist for Sweet July magazine and a former contributing editor at Vine Pair. Her work has been featured in the New York Times, Wine Enthusiast, Thrillist, The Tasting Panel, Plate Magazine, Forbes.com, The Washington Post, The Financial Times, and more. So in today's episode, we will talk about how Julia got started, the many career moves that she made in between discovering her love of wine, and what she currently does now. So let's get right into it. Julia, welcome officially to the guest chair.
Thank you. I'm very honored. Very honored.
I'm so glad we're finally doing this. As I mentioned in your intro, we met during the My Taught You retreat in the pool in fabulous Mexico, the Nizuc Resort, right? And it was one of those moments where I distinctly remember feeling, how did she create her life? I need to know her career journey because I was so fascinated by you, your dynamic presence, your soul. And
is this when I was pouring champagne in people?
Yeah, you're pouring champagne. Okay. And first of all, I still feel a little like silly to even admit this, but you taught me how to hold a champagne glass. I was holding it wrong my whole life, right?
Most people do. I mean, most people do. So
what's the right way to hold it? We might as well start it off like that, right? All right, y'all. So come over to the YouTube channel and you will see. All right, don't have your hand all over.
So a lot of times people do this, and you're warming up your wine. And sometimes you need to if it's like very cold. Like to me, like my champagne is too cold. You can see condensation on the glass, but you really want to hold it by the stem. And if I always tell people for the photos, like you and your friends, you want to kind of get the here at the base for the optics. You can properly, do one of these, and it just looks good in photos.
It does. And this is what we were doing in the pool. So there you have it.
We were doing this in the pool.
We're in there getting demonstrations and practicing and taking pictures.
And also how to open a bottle of bubbly. Remember, I was like, don't turn the cork. You turn the bottle, the cage comes down 6 times. You never take your hand off the top,
Right. And I feel like Selena was in the pool too. I just interviewed Selena the other day, a Vainglorious Bride. So look at this full circle moment. So now we can officially jump in, and you have to tell us, how did you start out? And then how did you get into wine?
Okay. Wine is my third career path. So I like to say,
y'all? You can keep reinventing yourself.
I started a wine career at 43 and I'm currently 51. So I say that I had been drinking a lot of very good wine. So I grew up in Houston. I was born in Louisiana, grew up in Houston. And I thought I would always go to law school. Like that was like the path. I wanted to go to law school. And what I realized, I started working for lawyers. And after studying abroad in Paris, coming and working for lawyers, I actually liked being a legal assistant. I liked being a secretary. I liked all that, but I had way more flexibility. And once you get that travel bug, I was like, man, I can travel. I can do all these things. I was just hooked. So I still was thinking I was going to go, I'm going to work for a few years and then apply and be a late law student. That just really was the game plan. In 1999, it sounds so long ago, I was 26 and the boss I had just gone to Napa Valley tasting wine. And he came back and he did a barbecue at his house. Now I'm drinking margaritas. I tell people this all the time. And they're, he was like, well, you studied abroad in France. So I was like, when you're a college student, like you're broke, studying abroad is cheaper to drink wine in Europe than it is to actually order a soda. So it wasn't one of those, I'm drinking wine to know about wine. It was just cheaper and I'm on a budget, right?
So funny. Yep.
So he paired Napa Valley Cabernet with brisket. And he paired these, at that time, the icons, the pinnacles of Napa Valley, Heights, Camas, Clos de Vol, Opa's wine. Like, I am like, what am I drinking? Like this, and I'm eating it with food. And I'm going, whoa, this is, okay, so are there cherries in the wine? And I'm asking all these ludicrous questions because I don't know, because my family doesn't drink. So it was, okay, I'm very curious about this. What is going on? And then he just started talking to me and he was like, you should actually go to Napa. Like, you seem very curious and you have a good palate. And I'm 26 years old. And I go,
and you're like, go to Napa? What did you say?
That was it. That's how my mind went. I was going to Napa. And this is before smartphones. So it was literally landing in the airport, getting a rental car, driving over the Golden Gate Bridge by myself. None of my friends going with me. And I just went to Napa and started tasting wine.
Because the way I use Google Maps to go down the block.
Look, when I see people like, I need to go to here, but I'm taking Waze. And I'm like, what? Like, it's up the road. So I'm getting lost in Napa. I'm doing rental. I'm so curious that I am blown away, but I'm never thinking about it as a career. I like my job. Wow. And so then the next year I decided to go to Bordeaux. And I decided to do
where's Bordeaux? Like, where in relation to
France it's countryside.
Yeah,
3 hours by train from Paris. And I was doing a biking trip because I was very fit at that time of my life. And I went on a wine biking trip with a group. Didn't know anybody. What? And I said, I'm just going to go. And there I'm drinking all these fabulous bottles of wines. The wines you now see the celebrities drinking. It was like back then, you could just go and drink them. You didn't have to make appointments. There was no fee, just like Napa didn't have a fee. You just kind of walked in, knocked on doors, and, you drink wine. And I
can't imagine Napa without a fee. This is so...
Oh, yeah, Napa didn't used to have a fee.
And I love how your boss ignited this adventure that you started to go on.
Oh, and we still keep in touch.
Exploration. Oh, that's amazing.
We still keep in touch.
You know what else I like about that story, Julia, is that the wine was paired with brisket, because there is this intimidation factor sometimes with wine, and you think you have to be so fancy, and it just goes to show that it's meant to be enjoyed with food.
Well, I just did a panel at Aspen Food and Wine, and my panel was about snacks, and it was fine wine and snacks. And one of my favorite pairings is frappato, which is an Italian grape with pizza combos. Like, when I tell you, like, we took it down to the snack level, like the snack level.
What? Never thought that it was even a thing at all.
Yeah, whatever you eat, there's a wine for it.
I love that about it. So now you have this wine bug. You didn't think it was going to be a career. So was it just something you started to do as hobbies?
As hobbies, my vacations, all my friends are like, we're going to Italy, and everything was about a vineyard. Started reading wine books for a hobby, like wine books, like, like I read cookbooks, like some people read cookbooks like I do. And I'm a big book person. So I'm one of those people, always have a book, always really into books. So wine books, I started taking classes. I would fly to New York from Houston to take wine classes, not trying to work in wine. I was like, no, I know what a somm is. I know that whole life. I do not plan to ever work in a restaurant. I still have never worked in a restaurant. I've eaten in a lot of restaurants. Right. And so for me, Bob just gave me that. It was like the permission. And I come from a family like, if you want to know something, put your head in a book. Like, go figure it out. Go find it. go discover it. And as my family watched, they're like, what is this wine thing? Like, I was like, I don't know. And
I don't know where it's going to take me.
Where it's going to take me. And in 2005, I moved to DC from Houston. And then it was a whole other world because East Coast wine lovers are very different than Southern wine lovers, right? Because you
In
can
what way?
Well, you can get a lot of wines come to the East Coast that never make it down South. They don't even make it West because East Coast is considered more Eurocentric. That is just kind of like a thing. And in 2005, you could get some wines in Texas, but you couldn't get them like you can now. And so it was on the train for wine dinners, let's say, okay, I'm going to New York. I'm going to La Guinouille because there's a wine dinner. Okay, I'm going to Le Bernardin because there's a wine dinner. So I started knowing all these Psalms because I was going up to DC, up to New York. And then I knew all the DC people because I was just eating at all the restaurants.
And what's a Psalm? It's a
sommelier.
Sommelier. I can always trip over that word. And are they like a wine curator? Is that the official kind of...
The official kind of definition is a wine steward, someone who works in wine, curates. I personally do not call myself a sommelier. A lot of people do. For me, I don't work in restaurants and I consider them a restaurant person. And I could call myself that. I call myself a wine educator, journalist, and consultant. If somebody says, are you a Psalm? Do I have certain credentials? Yes. I started studying those credentials when I wanted to get into wine as a career. But I know a lot about wine because I've actually been to more... I always like to say, I was going to wine regions when Psalms actually weren't going to wine regions. So when I would meet them, they're like, oh my God, you've been to all these wine regions and you've never worked? I'm like, no, I like wine.
And what were you doing during all this time? Well,
I was still a legal assistant.
You were still a legal assistant. So from Houston to the East Coast, you were... And
then I became an international legal assistant. So I was flying at Japan and Asia and Tokyo working. And Asia wine scene was off the chain. I mean, they drink some baller wines. I mean, they have a huge wine community in Asia. I actually love it because I love also the cuisine. So you're in Hong Kong, you're in Taiwan, you're getting Szechuan, you're getting all these styles of really great wine with dumplings.
Yeah, that sounds delicious.
Yeah. And they're big champagne drinkers. So the buzz of really getting into champagne was when I was going to Asia a lot and drinking with them. And I'm like, okay, well, what's this wine and what's this? And then in 2006, I started a beauty blog.
Oh, speaking of this beauty blog, right? So as I'm researching you, Julia, I find out this fun fact. One of my favorite bloggers and authors of all time is Tia Williams.
Absolutely.
So when I heard this connection, I was just blown away. Tell me, so what's the story? How did you meet Tia and how did that lead you to launch your blog?
So Tia is the reason I'm talking to you. And I will always say that. Tia Williams saw something in me that I should be writing about, even though I have an English degree, I didn't think about writing as a career. And I met Tia in 2006 at a writing conference on the weekend at Howard University.
So were you going to this writing conference for fun as well? Was this another...
It was a fun thing. It was Tia Williams. She was signing her book.
I love how you explore your passions. Okay.
And I'm a Tia Williams fan from Elle and Lucky. Tia is the Black beauty girl that is always going to be. Exactly. And so for me, Tia looked at me and she said, what do you do for your skin? While she's signing her books and books for my nieces. And I said, I go to Paris every year and get a facial. Tia went, what? I said, yeah, I go to Paris every year and get a facial, which I still do. God. I still go to the same facial place. And Tia went, you should write a beauty blog. And I said, what? And I never thought about it. And I said, I don't know. She said, I really think you have a voice. And she was like, you're doing something that's so different because you're flying to France to get a facial. And I said, okay, I'll think about it. And she gave me her email. And 3 months later, I emailed her back and said, okay, I'm going to start this beauty blog. And it was about me traveling the world and shopping about beauty products, being a lover of beauty products. And Tia posted on her then beauty blog, Shake Your Beauty. And it went crazy. Every beauty brand started reaching out. And I was like, what is happening?
Yes.
Like what is going on? Because I thought it was like a fluke and a joke, and what is a blog, and it was on Blogspot that then, and it was not like it is now.
OG memories right now. Listen, if y'all know about Shake Your Beauty, comment Shake Your Beauty when you see this, because that was my blog. Okay.
Yes. Everything about her life, like, you're reading about it, and she's talking about a product, and I used to, we called them screenshots back then. I remember trying to take photos with a BlackBerry of posts that she had, because I was like, I need to remember this, because I don't want to forget what she said, that I needed to layer this lip liner with this lip gloss. And,
and eventually you started your own.
I started my own, and I wanted
What was it called?
All About the Pretty. All About the Pretty. And the subtitle was A Southern Girl's Guide to All Things Beautimous, which my grandmother used the term beautimous, which is beautiful and glamorous together.
Oh, I love that.
So beautimous. And it was just literally me talking about spending Saturday mornings. I'm from Texas, so I'm a Texas girl, and moving to DC was one of the hardest things, because I hated the Neiman Marcus in DC. I'm from Texas. Neiman started in Texas, and if you're a Texas person who understand the OG Neiman's, you could go in, sit down. They will bring you clothing on a rack. You pick a clothing, and next thing you know, it's at your house. It was valet. You drop your car off. What? There was champagne in the makeup counter. It was a scene, and I would go on the weekends and just hang out. And I had a private sales lady named Miss Juanita, who started selling me skincare products when I was 16, because my mother wouldn't let me wear makeup. She was like, no, the skin is the thing in this family. You're going to have a skin routine. Mm-hmm. And it was just really talking about a good time. It was talking, I'm going to Rome, and I'm going, where I'm buying Carthusia, but I'm in Capri. I'm doing a visit in Capri at the place. And it was like I'm going to Grasse, France to study fragrance. It was insane. Like, it was insane.
When exactly did you start your blog, and how long did you blog before you realized, hey, like, I can actually switch careers?
Okay, I started to blog in March of 2006. I left my law firm job in September of 2010.
Okay. And I was doing both. You?
So my job as a legal assistant in DC was very busy. It was 60 to 70 hours a week, and then blogging on top of that. And I tell this story because I didn't hate my legal job. Like, some people hate I didn't hate my job. I just didn't want to work. I remember going into the office, and I had spent a month in Africa going to the World Cup, and then going to Egypt with my then boyfriend, now husband. And I said, I just want to work one day a month from home. Not a Friday, not a Monday, just Wednesday. I said, so we're going to get married, and I just want to work Wednesday from home. That's all I wanted. I was like, if they give me Wednesday just not to go in, not come home in a car service. And, because one of the clients I work with, really, we're on their phones. Like, we're on their laptops. They were huge. So it was a lot, very intense. And I had a team of 5. And by the time I came back, my entire team was like, I can't work like this for the rest of my life. Like, this is very hard work. It's very busy. I don't know how you do this and a blog. Because I would be traveling with the blog and still doing the legal work, like, at the same time. And I said, I'm going to go in, and I'm going to ask for Wednesday off. Not work, just telework. Now everybody can do it. It was hybrid. This is 2010, so they weren't cutting for that. They told me no. And at that moment, I said, well, I'm making the same amount of money doing this beauty thing. Okay. And I went to my desk, and I typed in a resignation right then, because I said, if I don't. Yeah. Yeah. And I mind you, this was a Wednesday after the Friday I got married. Wow. Didn't tell my husband, didn't call. I called him at work and said, hey, I just quit. He went, okay. And he just like, okay. And when he got home, he was like, I said, well, I'm going to see what this can do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because it wasn't, I hated my job. Like I said, it was just, I just needed a day to telework. And then in September 2010, I started doing full-time beauty freelance, travel writing. I mean, I used to do Twitter chats. Remember when Twitter chats was a thing?
Yes, Twitter chat. That was like 09, 2010. Like
2010, Twitter chats was big.
Twitter chats.
Thing.
You had to do a Twitter chat. You had to join them.
You had to join a Twitter chat.
What a time.
And I started doing that, and I really enjoyed it, right? I loved writing about beauty. I loved the behind the scenes. I loved interviewing perfumers, people who make the product, the skincare, like chemists, because to me, it wasn't really makeup that drew me. It was skincare products and it was fragrance. Those are my two loves of beauty. Like, yes, I wear makeup because we wear it on the camera, but I don't have like 30 eyeshadows. Like I just,
right.
Oh, but I have like about 4 to 8 vitamin C serums. Like, you know what I mean? Yes. So that part still hasn't left. And so for me, I did that and I was very happy. I was very happy writing. I was very happy traveling. And then in 2015, and you might remember this time, I remember everything was contouring. Remember when contouring came out? Like 2014.
Girl, I don't even remember when because I didn't know about contour at that time. Okay. I was late to the game with contour.
Okay, well, it was the Kardashians. It was contouring like every day. It wasn't like contouring like we're going out at night, which I could understand. Yeah. And it was this glam all day, every day that I was like, okay, I can't write about that. That's not my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And it became very hard to write about. Also, I didn't really care that much about celebrities. Like I knew who they were, but it was kind of like, okay, if they were at the Oscars now, absolutely. Right. They're at an award show. But anything else, I was like, I don't want to write about that. And I was going back and forth, and my mom was living at the time. Yeah. And I had to have a hysterectomy in the fall of 2015. Right. And, you know, when you have a lot to analyze, when you're like, okay, I'm not having kids. And I was okay with that. That wasn't a thing. It was like, but do I want to be a beauty writer when I'm 60? Ooh. That conversation, and I'm 42 at that time. So I am going, do I want to do this way? And my mother was like, well, what do you want to do? I said, I know something in food and wine. And she went, well, all over this house is wine. I think it's just telling you, I think that's the sign. And I went, right. Okay. And I had known a Black wine writer named Dorothy Gator, who to me is my mentor in wine writing. And she wrote for the Wall Street Journal with her husband, John Brescher. They're actually my mentors still to this day. And I said, I want to be the next generation's Dorothy Gator. I want to talk and write about wine to make people feel comfortable like they made me in my wine journey coming into wine when I discovered them in 1998. I really want to read them and be that person. And I was still very nervous. Like, here I am again about to switch to another career. Yes. Going to tell my husband I'm switching to another career. Like, it wasn't just like... And, you know, my mom and my family was like, well, you're a wine person, though. We see it, even if you can't. Yes. And I said, okay, thank you. Because I didn't, I saw it, but I didn't see it. I didn't really see it.
First of all, you have lived so much just within our talk. So it just feels like you have had so many rich experiences. And it's just a testament to the fact that your life has different chapters. And we've been programmed to believe that we, at a certain age, choose what we're going to do for the rest of our life as if it's going to be one long chapter, like 18 and then 22 and then same chapter for the rest of our life. No.
Yeah, but remember, I'm Gen X. Gen X is you go to school, you go to college, you get a job, you retire. Then you can flit about, girl. You can flit and do whatever you want.
Yeah. And here you are like, okay, well, first I'm going to become a beauty writer and then I am going to pivot at 42 and that's okay. That is fine. And then now let's talk about these nerves, right? The nerves, the starting from the beginning, even as experienced as you were and traveled and knowledgeable, there's still that sense of, well, I haven't been doing this. Who am I to do this? Did you feel any of that?
Oh, I felt all the things. I felt all the things to start over. Who am I to now want to jump into wine? And like feet first, right? I remember just going, okay, so let me Google myself, right? So I Googled myself and said, well, if I keep my name, everything relates to this beauty blog, right? Everything pulls to this blog. So then I had to decide, that was an identity I had. I am Julia Coney from All About the Pretty. I have to take this beauty blog down.
What?
If I don't take it down, when you Google me, it will forever be beauty. And that was a hard decision to pull 10 years of beauty writing posts down.
Wow.
Like, yes, I still own the domain, but it was like, let's take this down off WordPress. Let's archive everything.
Wow.
When I tell you,
Julia, like, I don't think even if I pivot away from Salsa Pro, I'm not taking it down.
I did because I was just like, I kept Googling myself and I was like, wine is never coming up. Like, is not going to come up. And I cried like a baby. Like, I am telling you, I was bawling because I didn't. And here is like starting a new blog, new this, new everything, and taking something, that old identity.
Yeah.
Who I still love that girl, but it was like, this new girl got to show up and she can't show up doing this.
Yeah.
And I do everything. I had researched bloggers, writers, found emails. And when I tell you shoot your shot, because I was shooting my shot in people's emails like, hey, I was a beauty writer. Can you help me in this wine thing? Not one person said no. Not one person said no to me.
What kind of help were you looking for?
Just like, okay, how do I get on? You know, there's a PR list, right? How do I go from a beauty list to a PR list? And I will never forget, her name is Catherine Todd, Dame Wine. She's like, email every PR that works in beauty and tell them to pass it to their friends that work in food and wine. That's the first step. Email them and tell them, hey, this is a new email. This is what I'm doing. Set that up. Did that. The response was great. Okay, we'll just switch you over. Change my name in Cision. Email Cision. Hey, I need you to take me off the beauty PR list. I need you to put me in the food and drink. It was like a checklist. Every day I'm doing something.
Yes.
And then it was like, okay, let's cold pitch. Magazines, articles, websites.
I love a cold pitch, y'all.
And people, pitching is hard, right? Because I'm going pitching about beauty I'm doing writing in the story. And it took a long time to go, in my opinion, from Julia Coney, beauty writer to wine writer. Yes. And it wasn't the pitch that actually made me popular and everybody wanted to talk to me. It was writing about the racism in the wine industry in 2018 on my blog. And when I did that, my mother was still living. It was January 2018. And my title was Your Wine Glass Ceiling is My Wine Glass Box, an open letter to the wine industry on their racism. I wrote that blog post about everything that had happened, the things people said, like when it was, now you're in the business, I can't believe you've done these things, because how have you been in these places? And I've been here for 10 years and you have been to all these places. And oh my God, you've been to Bordeaux, like the real Bordeaux? Like, the real Bordeaux is only one.
Right.
It's only one.
What name clarification?
I wrote this honest letter, and the next day it was in what we consider in the wine industry our daily news. It was in Wine Business, and they linked to it. And I literally woke up and it was emails upon emails from people like, we need to talk to you. How can we help you write? Do you want to write a story? Like, it became just because I was just so frustrated, because I was just like, I can go back to what I know how to do. That's easy, but that's not what I want to do. And if this is happening to me, how can I help people coming behind me? Because I am the well-traveled wine person. Like before, I was working in wine, and that literally jump-started my career. So I am very grateful to blogging and writing and having that platform.
Right.
Because that changed everything for me.
I love the word you use, because I love this word, platform. The power can be in your hands. Like, we can literally give ourselves a platform, whether it's through a blog, whether it's through a podcast. Yes, you can pitch till you're blue in the face, but they need something to come back to. And when you have this platform, which is like your portfolio with all of your work, it speaks for itself. They can then say, oh yeah, we want more of this. So talk to us about the platform building that you've done throughout the years and how impactful it's been for you, whether it was beauty or now food and wine?
Well, for me, one of the things, I still freelance, right? So I've written Washington Post, Food and Wine Enthusiast. And this year, last year, Lord Jesus, I started a Substack. And what I wanted to write with the Substack is I wanted people to find a wine, 1 week. That's all I'm giving you. I'm not giving you all nuance. I'm not giving you technicality. If you want a technical wine writer, I am not her. Can I go there with you? Absolutely. Will I? No. People don't want it. People don't want that. They want to know what they should be drinking, what they should be eating. So for me, those main platforms for me are Substack and then Instagram. Like that's where I'm going to, can be myself, talking things, talking wine, talking food, just talking books. It could be anything. And it took me a long time because everything is about, yes, you need to niche this. And if you don't niche, then, but I'm a wine person who I comment very often about how when I'm tasting wine for work, I can't wear a fragrance. Fragrance hinders me smelling wine. So I write often like, oh, I'm glad I'm home because I can wear a fragrance and then I can smell this wine, or I'm writing about this wine. And then I'm like, yeah, then I'm going to layer a fragrance after it. But there are so many nuances in fragrance and wine that are very similar, right? On the Substack, I pair champagne and fragrance.
Interesting. And
I learned that from a perfumer.
And what's really interesting about you, Julia, is there's an unapologetic nature that you have. This is me. This is what I want to do. There's not coloring in the lines, and then there's just like ripping up the lines altogether. And you're just like, what line? Because even within things that we give ourselves permission to do, we can find ourselves still going back to these made up rules. Like, who set the rules? Who says, if you know this much about wine, then you need to be a somm? If you do this, then you need to do it this way and be writing about technical stuff. You're like, no, I don't want to do that. No.
Well, the reason why I will say this, I come from a family, my dad, my mom, grandmother, family, like we're a very loud family. We're a very bold family. We're very unapologetic. Like, and that was just the way I was raised. I am the daughter, the baby girl of 4 boys. I am the baby. I had to be loud in order to be heard in that house. My father was a U.S. Marshal. My mom was a teacher. And, my parents were like, you're curious, go study it. Anything you want to do, we'll believe in you. Those kind of like, okay, you fell down, get back up. You mess up, get back up. You can fix things. And I think even as adults, we forget that we can fall down and get back up. We can fix things. We can mess things up and then still fix them. And so for me, when I think of wine in that way, and I talk to a lot of young people who want to enter wine, and I always ask them, okay, do you want to be the person for the gram? Like, or you want to do that? Or do you want to do like wine education? Like, what do you want to do? Because even though this wonderful beverage is fun, it's also a lot of facts about it. So you can't be stunting for the gram and don't know the wine facts, right? So I tell them immediately, like, somebody might have a situation. And I'm going, well, was that racism or you were factually wrong?
Ooh.
Because it could be both. And it could be you actually wrong. And they're telling you this not because you Black, but you actually are factually wrong. And when
about the wine,
9 times out of 10, they're factually wrong.
What kind of things are they factually wrong about?
Right now in Bordeaux is known for classic 5 grapes. For centuries, it has been 5 grapes. A few years ago, they allowed 7 additional grapes. So now we got 12. So you're talking to somebody and they're a Bordeaux person. They know Bordeaux inside and out. And they're telling you Bordeaux has new grapes. But your mind is saying Bordeaux has a 5 because my textbook told me it was 5.
Okay.
You're factually wrong. Yes, 5 are still the classics of what they do. But because of climate change, they had to add these new 7. And these new 7 are going into these blends. That's facts. Champagne, right? Champagne can only be from Champagne, France. Yes, there technically are 3 main grapes, but there's also 5 other grapes. Do we know the 5 other that makes the 8? So you can tell me I don't understand why Pinot Blanc is in a Champagne blend. It's a legal grape that can be in the blend. That's a fact.
Yes.
So
look at that.
It's understanding we have to also continue to study. Yes, you can continue to drink wine, but wine laws change. a lot of things. And it's sometimes things change every week, every day in wine on the factual part. So when I'm encouraging my mentees, I'm like, you have to be up on your career, what's happening in your industry. You have to read these news articles. You have to see who sold what wine company to this, understanding what they're doing in the vineyard as much as what's happening in the glass. So you have to be a forever student.
Let's shift gears a little bit more because I want to know about the financial aspects of this. Mm-hmm. It is all fine and dandy to explore your passions and to do something that brings you joy. But how do you sustain yourself? Especially as a freelance writer, it can be so hard. I
imagine, girl, I got 8 jobs to make a job. Like, it's not just one job. Girl, no.
Tell us about these jobs. Yeah. How do you sustain yourself?
I have writing. My Substack, I have a paid vertical on there. I have a free vertical. I talk on panels. I charge my fee to be on your panel. And that is inclusive of, are you paying for my travel? I don't travel on budget airlines. I don't travel on airlines that I don't have any points. With my work, I only mainly now travel 99% of the time on American. That's where my status lies. That's what I do. And it's understanding that, right? If you want me to write for you, this is my rate. I don't accept anything below. And it is very hard. So you have to understand, even when I do a lot of private tastings for people. Mm-hmm. You want me to come taste with you. That means you need to pay for my Uber, Black, because you want me to drink with you too. So let's be clear. You want me to do it private. I'm not getting a regular Uber. I'm charging for that. And I'm charging per head. Okay. I'm not charging per event unless your event has a comma in it. Because otherwise, you're inviting 50 people to the Zoom. Just say it's still on a Zoom. I have to have the energy for 50 people. The same energy for 20 is the same energy for 50, but I have to charge for that.
This is all important notes.
Yes. It's important notes, right? Am I choosing the wine? Am I coordinating the wine delivery? Then I have to charge because I got to pay a virtual assistant to create this Excel sheet with everybody's address. Then we have to go make sure your state allows the wine to be shipped from my vendor. No, I got to charge for all that. Yeah. And I'm not everybody's person, and I'm okay with that. And now that took a long time to get to. It's kind of like now I do private seller coordination. You want me to come into your home, analyze your wines, see which ones need to be drank now, see which ones. I can't do that if your cellar doesn't start at $10,000 and up. That's a real talk. Yeah. You need to have $10,000 worth of wine for me to talk to that. Okay. And not because if you're not a wine person and you have a few bottles that you've collected on your travels, a lot of the times those bottles need to have been drank. You didn't buy bottles to collect. You bought bottles to be drank now, which means bringing me in is not worth the money because you don't really know what you have. Mm-hmm. So usually people I meet at, for events like Aspen. At retreats. At Aspen, I got 2 clients. They want me to come in and, it is this. You're paying me for my time. You're paying me to go to restaurant. They don't want to do it. The expertise, right? And it's fun and exhausting at the same time because a lot of that work is dirty. I'm opening boxes. I'm labeling boxes. I'm telling you, hey, I need you to drink this bottle on this shelf right now within the next 2 months because it is going flat. That is an expertise I've honed over decades of drinking wines, decades of knowing about certain regions that they've bought into reading weather reports. So it's not just I'm just drinking a wine. No, I'm weather reporting that year that you bought that. Also, how was it stored?
Fascinating.
Is the capsule still on the wine? Yeah. Was it behind the kitchen? Who had it? What do we do?
You know what I love about this, Julia? Because my mind is blown because I didn't even know that that's something people pay for. You see why I love talking to people? It's I didn't even know this was a job. I didn't know that was part of what you do, but it makes so much sense. But you know what else? This is rich people problems. This is wealthy talk right here. You have uncorked a whole new level. If I need someone to come tell me what's in my cellar, and help me know when to drink it?
Oh, I have a client every week. Her job is to send me the list of what she bought, because she buys a lot of stuff, right? I get the text, I should buy this. And I am just like, nope. And also, too, everything you might see on sale depends on the vendor. I will tell you not to buy it. I don't like the way their warehouse is. But that's an inside baseball nuance of wine for me to tell you they don't properly chill their warehouse. So you're buying an off bottle. That is a lot of inside my career that I learned by asking questions.
What do you think of things like wine subscriptions, for example? Are you able to advise people if you don't know anything about this subscription company and where they're storing their wines?
Yes. And that's a flat fee. And here's why. I don't take that on one time. One time doesn't create a relationship for us. For me, I am minimum 6 months. Because that way I figure out, what do you like to drink? Where are you going? Because here's also, too, you went on vacation, right? Yeah. Vacation was great. You bought you came home. You were happy. You were in Italy. You were like, oh, girl, I got this wine. And you came home and you're saying to me, you don't like the wine now. Well, one, you're not on vacation. So vacation wine tastes different. Vacation wine tastes different. Yeah. Right? But if you've bought wine, I needed to know, what store did you actually buy it from the vineyard? What happened? Like, how did it get to you? Did you take it immediately out the box? Are we leaving it in a box? Also, when you have something at home, where is a cellar? Is it a private room? Is it a basement? I'm asking about temperature, all those, so we can help you in your investment of wine, preserve that wine till your kids literally graduate high school.
So I can't just put it in the fridge, Julia. I can't.
No. Here's the thing. Fridge wine is when you go to the wine store, you bought a bottle of wine, put it in. I will tell you, within 2 months, that wine needs to be drank in your refrigerator. Just don't leave it. But it's those little things I've learned asking questions, talking to people who know more than I do. Like, how did you get in this game? And I asked a friend, and he was like, oh, girl, let me tell you. And literally called me one day, was like, da, 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 da. And I was like, bet, say less, got it, done. And when I started telling people, and they're like, oh, and I came, thank goodness for Canva, created my little one-sheeter. This is the rate. Always happens. And here's the funny thing. Now I download it because I meet so many people, because I'm always in an airport.
Right.
I can tell them, here's what I do. Here's the rate. You can choose it, and 9 times out of 10, I get a client.
Nice.
Because people, they don't know, and they don't even want to do the work. So the wine job is like this. So it's not a straight and narrow, right? I do know January is my slowest month. End of December, January, right? In the wine business, we call OND, October, November, December. But by literally Christmas Eve, everybody has had all the wine, all the spirits they want. Everybody's on a diet in January, and everybody's really not drinking. Right? They're not drinking, which is fine. So that means I can take a vacation. I can go away. I can regroup. And I usually don't take work in January for that reason.
Yeah, that's
But I have to think about everything that leads to that. I also, I don't know if you know this, I do food and wine trips around the world.
Now, I've seen glimmers of this, so tell me more about this. Are you leading these trips? Are people paying you to take these trips? Yes. Are you a guest on the trip? Okay, tell me more.
I am leading the trips, and I am launching my own luxury travel company with my friend to do food, wine, and wellness trips around the world.
Who better to go with than you? And, hello.
Yes, and I also will be hiring other wine professionals to lead wine trips in their regions they're deciding. Like, you love Riesling,
all right,
we're doing Germany, we're going to the Mosel. That kind of thing.
Reach out, y'all.
Yes. So we're launching next May in a wine region for a week. We have a little weekend trips, and then we're having 10-day super luxury, high-end international trips. So we'll have something for everybody.
Yes. I want to highlight here and just really call out the fact that you discovered something you love. You, for many years, allowed yourself to explore that on the side and didn't try to define it too early. Why do I like this so much? What could I do with this? Should I be doing something with this? You just let yourself enjoy a genuine love for something. And when the time was right, you realize what more you should be doing with it. And so I love that progression, because you gave yourself space to see exactly which part of it you would be okay taking payment for, so that it doesn't ruin the joy of it for you.
Yeah, and some days, and I do a lot of work in diversity and wine, and some days those are hard, right? Some days the joy is like, oh, why am I doing this? Everybody has that in their career.
Yeah.
And then honestly, the way I get over it is I just go say, you know what? Let's look about indigenous grapes in Slovenia, and I'll get back to the love of why I came to wine. So I take the work part out and become that student again. So that's why I continue to take classes, continue to be curious and interested, because every day I don't always like it, right? I mean, I think about, I am the first Black person to run a wine program for an airline.
Wow.
Right? I don't want to be the last. So there is that, right? Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing. And then when I get the Excel sheets, I was like, oh,
I don't want to do this.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to look at this 600 line item that I need to look at, right? Yeah. So there are days it's like, oh, this just sucks. But that's life, and that's a lot of jobs. And I think we forget that every day in a job is not going to be great.
Right. And I just actually had a moment like that today where I was like, self, you could be doing this, for someone else in an office, but no, you have to be your own boss, and you have to buckle up and do something you don't want to do. And that's okay. Like, you either do it here or there, which one? Everyone has their days, no matter what the profession, where there's some elements of it that are not the most fun. Like, I don't get to just kiki with you all day. There's other stuff that comes into the podcast world. And you have to remind yourself that. You're so right. But before we get into the lightning round, I have to learn more about how you became the wine consultant for American Airlines. So how did that come about?
So the American Airlines partners with the James Beard Foundation. So the James Beard Foundation, for anybody listening, James Beard chefs, top of the line, best of the best in the United States. And they have the wine program for American. And so a few years ago, they reached out saying they're looking for a new wine consultant. Would I like to be considered and interviewed? And I said, yeah, okay. And like on the interview, I was like, oh, thank you for my job. It was the funniest thing. I didn't even I'm like, thank you for my job. And I remember seeing the faces. They were like, huh? I'm like, oh, thank you for my job. I just await. Thank you for the job. Because here's the thing. They had watched me talk about wine and snacks on Instagram. Somebody told somebody, and she was like, hey, this looks like a fun person. We want not just to choose the wines, because it's the planes and all the lounges. So it is all that. But maybe she can do public appearances. She can teach the staff about wine. Because when I came in, I was like, okay, choosing wine is fun. This is going to be fun. But I also like to travel, and doing the trips, I'm always in the lounge. I want to talk to people. Can I talk about the wines? And they went, you want to do that? And then I was like, watch me. And then they saw me in one lounge and was like, yeah, we get it now.
That's amazing. Yeah. That is amazing. My favorite part of this is the fact that they saw you on Instagram and somebody told somebody. That is my favorite kind of story, because I keep telling y'all, if you are not posting what you do on the internet somewhere, let this be,
and here's a crazy thing, like
your permission slip.
It's so funny, because you were talking about wine and food, and I did this panel in Aspen with snacks, and my whole August is just literally filming that video, one snack, one wine, and posting it. That is literally going to be it, because I'm getting all the snacks from all the places. And here's the thing, some of it's going to work and some of it won't. But that's the beauty of it, is trying, right? And trying to bring something that I love and make approachable and easy and fun. And I think about it because I'm only in 8.5 years. I mean, I've only been working in wine technically since 2016.
Right. When you told me that, I couldn't believe it, because we met in 2019. I'm like, wow, you were only like 4 years in at that point. That's crazy. I would never have known that. But you know what? 3 and 4 years is a long time. When you do something consistently, you'll be amazed at your growth.
Yeah.
In just 3 years.
It's amazing, because I always I have my husband, I'm a triple fire sign. So anybody who's into signs, I'm a triple fire sign. So I have to say this.
What does that mean, right? Because
people like I'm a Sagittarius, Moon, Sun, Leo, right?
That's what I mean. Like, what does that mean? Like, you on it? You just like a fireball when you come through.
I love what I do, and I'm always thinking, it's not what's next, it's how can I keep having fun? And I changed my mind narrative that a lot of people will say, Julia, you're so busy. I'm not busy. I have a full life. Yes. I had to retrain the wording because everybody was putting things on me, and I'm like, I read 70 books a year. I get 7 hours of sleep a night. Like, I'm not busy. I just have a full life. And so one of my things is I love hotels. That's why I love traveling. Like I'm a hotel person. The room matters, right? And so my goal, I want to be a wine person for hotels, for boutique luxury hotels.
Yes.
I want to go in and I want to choose wines for some of my favorite hotels to put in rotation. Not permanently, just a little bit. Just say, and I do a residence one time a month at that hotel, 12 hotels, one time a month. And we have dinners and everybody come to this hotel and I work with the chef and boom, that's what we do. That's how my mind thinks.
Oh, I love that. And it's like you create job descriptions and then you go out there and it manifests because it's so important to visualize and to speak life into yourself over what you want. And so as you're saying this, you guys know, you've been listening to the last few episodes, it all ties back to what I've been so focused on this year, which is making sure that my words really reflect the reality that I want. And same thing. I no longer say things like, oh, I'm so busy. I was talking to a mindset, I guess I'll call them coach, for lack of a better word right now, that I was working with. And when people are like, oh, I'm stressed, I got my kids and everybody's pulling on my time. And she's like, no, reframe that. My life is filled with people and things that I love. And so it just reminded me of what you said. I'm not busy. My life is full. My life is full of amazing things. And
some days you can Netflix and chill and some days you can't. Like,
and that's just it. And then the last thing that you said before we jump into lightning round that I want to reiterate is, how can I say that again? How can I make my life more fun? Right? I love that question. How can I continue to make my life more fun? If your life is not fun right now, ask yourself, what can I do to make it fun? And let that be the guiding light.
Exactly, because I look at planning wine lists for a hotel as fun. Mm-hmm. I'm going to stay in a fabulous room.
Yes.
I'm going to talk to people about wine. Right. I'm going to host a dinner. And in that dinner, guess what I'm picking up? New clients. How can I make my wine more fun? It's going to be fun.
It's going. And so for me, I'll demonstrate that for you guys too. Like, how can I make more life? I want to talk to people. I'm naturally nosy. Being nosy is fun for me. How can I do that? I can just continue to interview and talk to amazing women who I admire, who I feel are icons in their field. That is fun for me. And so everyone listening, ask yourself that. And you know what it requires? It requires you taking the limits that you've put on yourself off. It requires you are the one that has to take that ceiling off. Like, oh, that's not realistic. Oh, everyone can't have fun all day, Julia. Yes, you can.
Well, here's the thing. I think what we describe as fun, right? Like, like I picked up roller skating last year as a hobby, right? That's a hobby.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't want to leave this earth and going, I didn't have fun the majority of the time.
Right.
Does that not mean, look, I'm still full-time caregiving right now in Louisiana, and it is hard. But how can I have fun still?
Yeah.
I'm drinking champagne with you in the afternoon. It's fun.
Right. Yeah. That's it right there. All right. So we're going to jump into the lightning round, you guys.
Okay.
I have a big smile on my face. I like you said, there are hard moments in life. Like, I am running on fumes sometimes from lack of sleep. And these conversations, they give me so much life that, like, my brain be like, I just be like so energized after them, after waking up with like 3 hours of sleep, like all because of what we've decided to do with our life. So I hope that inspires someone today. So now let's jump into the lightning round. You know the deal. You just answer the very first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Okay, hold on. Let me take a sip of courage.
Okay, yes. And I'll take a sip. I'm taking a sip of a different type of bubbly. It's just sparkling water. Because Lord knows if I drink right now, I will not wake up. All right. Number 1, what is a top resource that has helped you in your business that you can share with the Side Hustle Pro audience?
YouTube and Google classes. YouTube, Googling something on YouTube, on Google and finding on YouTube, learning how to, like, I've learned how to work my phone better for things just being on YouTube.
Like content creation,
also timing, just everything, like how to make the phone more efficient, not just, oh, this is a note app. How do I sync this note to a reminder that's going to pop up on my phone instead of just having a list of notes?
Yes, I need to do a better job of that. So thank you for that reminder.
That's been a game changer.
Like, Apple, I know you have this big event. You tell us all these things and I don't know what to do with it.
You know where I learned it? On Threads. A girl literally said how she links notes on her thing to her reminders. And I screenshotted it and I went back. This before you could save on Threads. Went on YouTube, 30 minutes. I was like, oh, I'm good.
Oh, okay. Now I'm looking that up after this. All right. Number 2, who is a non-celebrity Black woman entrepreneur who you would want to switch places with for a day and why?
I would like to switch places with Cookie Johnson for one day.
Tell me why.
I think Cookie Johnson is one of the most elegant women I have ever watched and I mean, I know I hate to say celebrity in that way, but I've still missed Cookie's jeans. And I want to know, does she have an archive of those Cookies jeans that I can take, because I am literally on my last 2 pairs and I'm trying to buy some off eBay. I thought her jeans were the best concept for Black women. Like, it just worked. Everything about those jeans were amazing and they don't exist anymore. So
wow.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Oh, wow. Honey. Like, I gotta reach
on
out
eBay to her and find out. Like, now, Miss Cookie, what happened?
What happened to bring back Cookie's jeans? I need these jeans back, sis.
Back. Yes. All right. Number 3, what's a non-negotiable part of your day these days?
Quiet morning and exercise. That is how I get through the day. It's part of my morning routine. Like, I wake out of the bed and I'm very excited. I'm happy. I do Tracy Anderson method. I walk and I do yoga. Those are primarily the things I do. I don't do all the intense that a lot of people do. I know Tracy Ellis Ross is a big devotee of Tracy Anderson. It's like yoga, Pilates, strength, hit all in like one class, like 30 minutes. It is the best 30 minutes of my day. So doing a workout, even if I just walk, because some mornings I don't plan it. So I wake up and go, how do I feel? Some mornings it could be a 30-minute walk. Some mornings it could be Tracy Anderson. Some mornings it could be yoga. And then I spend 30 minutes to 45 minutes every morning reading.
Okay. Number 4, what's a personal trait that has really contributed to your success? I'm
never meet a stranger. And I'm going to shout out to Lovey Ajayi Jones on this statement. Lovey said years ago on stage that when she walks into a room, God has her helper there. My life changed, and I will tell you, in the past 3 years, when I walk into a room, my helper is there. That is how.
That is beautiful.
That statement changed how I saw everything. And I don't mean a bunch of, it doesn't have to be 20 people. It could just be one person. And so never meet a stranger. I know Myleik and I we're playing people who talk to everybody on the plane. If you talk back, I'm talking to you. That's like going to be a thing. But you never meet, your helper might be the person sitting next to you.
Yeah. I love that, because you just never know who you're crossing paths with. And, people are so interesting. It's like, what brought you here? Like I said, like being in that pool, I just remember staring at you like, what is her life? And how did she create it?
It's one of those things, that pool scene to me was like, people go on retreats, and I've been on retreats, and you've probably been on retreats, to see that many Black people, women that fabulous in one weekend.
Yes.
one weekend. And to me, I want to bring the joy of champagne and sparkling wine of my love to women. And I am waiting for the next one, my league. Whenever that happens. Or here's the thing, any black woman that has a retreat, look, you have a retreat, you have an event, you want me to come with the champagne and the sparkling, I'm coming. I'm bringing the wine suitcase.
Right. I was just about to say, how could I forget? You also introduced me to the wine suitcase.
Yes. The wine suitcase. Yes.
Amazing. All right. Last question. What is your parting advice for fellow women entrepreneurs who want to be their own boss, but are worried about not having a steady paycheck?
Save more money, ask for more money, and know there are going to be lean times and fat times. And know what you're doing on purpose, on his purpose, for your purpose, is we need your voice. However you're going to give it to us, we need it. We need it. Somebody needs it. And just know, I know, and I have to say this, just because it seems like everybody else doing it, we still need your voice. We still need your voice.
Oh, I love that so much. Thank you, Julia. Thank you. Where can people connect with you and all your fabulousness after this episode?
I am on Instagram at Julia Coney. Substack is juliaconey.substack.com. Literally anywhere, like I tell people, slide into the DMs. Like I answer my DMs. I email back. Like if you email, I'm gonna email you. If you're not a DM person, fine. If you're not a social person, email me. My email is hello@juliaconey.com. I answer it. My assistant answers it. I like people, in my role as a Black woman is to promote Black women and to be a voice and sometimes a listening ear, and being like, there and understand, like, also, no means not right now.
Hello. Well, thank you so much again, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed recording it, and I will talk to you next week. Hey guys, thanks for listening to Side Hustle Pro. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. It helps other side hustlers just like you to find the show. And if you want to hear more from me, you can follow me on Instagram at Side Hustle Pro. Plus, sign up for my 6-bullet Saturday newsletter at sidehustlepro.co/newsletter. When you sign up, you will receive weekly nuggets from me, including what I'm up to, personal lessons, and my business tip of the week. Again, that's sidehustlepro.co/newsletter to sign up. Talk to you soon.